Today, I wanted to talk about my experience at the arcade. I never had a local arcade growing up except for one moment in time when I was in elementary school and I went to my local pizza place, and over on the left I saw a Marvel Chew arcade cabinet. Nobody ever played it for some reason, and one day I decided to check it out. I remember my team being Spider-Man because Spectacular Spider-Man was my favorite thing ever, Ryu because I'd heard of Street Fighter, and Strider Hiryu because Naruto was my other favorite thing ever. I lost after 3 matches, but it was the coolest thing ever. Lasers were coming out of people's hands, random characters were popping in and out of the screen, and Marvel superheroes were as far as the eye can see. This was the only arcade experience I had, at least until a couple of years ago. A few years after I moved to a different part of New York, I discovered there was a Round 1 arcade near my house. I immediately had to go see what was in that place, and after a bit of walking around, I found a small pocket in the room dedicated solely to the fighting games. I'm talking Street Fighter V, SNK, and Tekken 7 arcade cabinets that were straight from Japan, meaning the menus were not in English, so good luck finding out what things meant. It was my dream to have an arcade near my house, and it had finally been achieved. Now, sadly, this wasn't something that lasted forever. There are still fighting cabinets at the Round 1, but things have changed. Back in December, I'd gone back to Round 1 after years of not playing fighting games to focus on personal stuff. I found that they replaced the Street Fighter V cabinet with a Street Fighter VI cabinet, which was amazing since my PC is currently not capable of running most fighting games. It also updates every now and then for new balance changes and of course a new DLC, meaning I get to play as Ed and as Akuma. Another thing I wanted to talk about is what it's like playing the cabinet in general. Arcades aren't as common as they used to be, so to find one is an experience that, personally, I think should be treasured. The Street Fighter cabinet looks amazing. The graphics are pristine, the sound quality is top notch thanks to its speakers, and I love the added bonus of having all the moves on display for the characters for all the casuals out there who haven't played Street Fighter. The only problem I really have isn't even a fault of the cabinet, more than it is just a minor adjustment that I have to make. I'm not used to playing joystick, so I have to be very precise and careful with my inputs. I still like playing stick as opposed to having to deal with pad, where the D-pad absolutely destroys my thumbs. Even if I have to make adjustments, with the joystick my inputs still get read better and it's easier on my hands in comparison to a controller's D-pad. I've even considered making my own fight stick with parts that I bought through Amazon. Also, bit of a side note, I think the whole controller versus pad debate is kinda silly, especially with the introduction to leverless controllers. It ultimately boils down to whatever the player feels most comfortable playing, and for people like me, it's between stick or even keyboard. You would have to hold me at gunpoint in order to get me to play pad, but if it's what suits you best, I'm not gonna argue, you do you. I should also mention that they got rid of the Tekken cabinet and they moved the SNK cabinets to the basement floor of the arcade, which I recently used to play KOF and Samurai Showdown for the first time. The stick in those cabinets felt really stiff compared to the Street Fighter VI ones, but it doesn't detract from how fun those games are. I've gotten so adjusted to those cabinets for Street Fighter that I got this thing called a Nezuka card, which is used mainly to save game data and make a profile on arcades. It even lets you climb the ranked ladder and fight people from other arcades. I'll try to keep in touch with my progress, but I'm having an absolute blast so far. With that being said, I'm about to go play some more Street Fighter, so goodbye, sayonara, alvida, peace.